Greetings to all movie buffs. Welcome to the Film Focus channel. We hope you enjoy our content, and please remember to like and bookmark.
Love and Hate of Woman War, Napoleon Legend and Tragedy. The movie Napoleon is an epic biopic that carefully depicts the ups and downs of the French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte's life. In this film, director Ridley Scott takes the audience through the mists of history and explores in depth the complex and turbulent emotional life between Napoleon and his wife Josephine. The film is not just a biography of a great general, it also attempts to capture the spiritual essence of that era, reflecting the turmoil and changes of the entire era through Napoleon's personal story. The core of the film revolves around three main aspects of Napoleon. First, his deep obsession with Josephine, which depicts their intense and emotionally entangled relationship. Second, Napoleon's hubris, which it deeply explores his personality and desire for power. Finally, his pursuit and persistence of power. This part shows his brilliant achievements and failures on the historical stage. Through these three aspects, the movie attempts to construct a three-dimensional and full image of Napoleon, but this also ignores his identity as a tactician and reformer and the interpretation of some key histories. In addition, Napoleon is also an action epic film full of spectacle. With its gorgeous scene design and thrilling war scenes, it shows the audience a magnificent historical picture. Joaquin Phoenix's wonderful performance reproduces the multifaceted character of Napoleon, a historical figure. He was not only a military genius and politician, but also an emotionally rich and complex individual. This film is not only a reproduction of Napoleon's life, but also a profound reflection on that era and an exploration of power, love and human nature. 1. Lover Napoleon. Display of emotional entanglements. In the movie Napoleon, director Ridley Scott focused on portraying the emotional entanglement between Napoleon and Josephine. This part shows the intense and complex relationship between the two, full of emotional fluctuations of love and hate. The film depicts their love story through a series of affectionate and tense scenes, aiming to show that Napoleon was not just a military strategist and politician, but a flesh-and-blood human being with his own emotions and weaknesses. Levels of performance. The two leads do a great job portraying this complex relationship. Their acting skills are not only about showing the depth of emotions, but also about vividly presenting the inner world and emotional conflicts of two historical figures through their delicate expressions and body language. They demonstrated superb acting skills in portraying the love, conflict and interdependence between Napoleon and Josephine, dealing with humor and tension. While the performances from the two leads add depth to the relationship, the film seems a little lacking in its handling of humor and tension. Some scenes that are supposed to be lighthearted and humorous are taken too seriously, while some scenes that require a tense atmosphere seem a little light. This treatment may be due to the director's desire to focus on the emotional entanglement of Napoleon and Josephine, while ignoring the necessity of humor and light-hearted atmosphere in the context of such a major historical event. Fidelity to history. Although the film has a certain degree of artistic processing on the relationship between Napoleon and Josephine, it still maintains fidelity to history on the whole. This treatment makes the movie not only a simple love story, but also a work that can reflect the historical reality and the complexity of the characters. Overall, the film does a balanced but slightly conservative job of presenting Napoleon as a lover. Although it is not handled perfectly in some aspects, the two leading actors' affectionate performances and faithful reproduction of historical events make this part an important part of the film, providing the audience with a more comprehensive understanding of Napoleon's history. Characters' perspective. 2. Arrogant Napoleon. In the movie Napoleon, director Ridley Scott particularly emphasized Napoleon's arrogant qualities. The in-depth description in this aspect is not just a simple outline of Napoleon's personality, but an attempt to explore his psychology and behavioral patterns as a ruler, revealing the relationship between personality and power. The film reveals the arrogant side of Napoleon's personality by showing his overconfidence in himself and his desire for power. This arrogance is not only reflected in his overestimation of his own abilities, but also in his pursuit of power and his disdain for others. This character trait is portrayed in the film as a key reason for his failure, hinting at the disastrous consequences that overconfidence can have. Delicacy and exaggeration of performance. When Joaquin Phoenix played Napoleon, he not only showed his arrogant side, but also showed the audience how this character affects Napoleon's decision-making and behavior through his delicate acting skills. Although this arrogant depiction may be slightly exaggerated in some scenes, this exaggeration just enhances the dramatic effect of the film and makes Napoleon's image more three-dimensional and vivid. A reinterpretation of history. The presentation of this part in the movie is also a reinterpretation of history. In many history books and biographies, Napoleon is portrayed as a great military leader and statesman, but the film chooses to focus on his hubris, providing a more diverse and complex perspective on this historical figure. Overall, the film's treatment of Napoleon's hubris not only reveals an important aspect of his personality, but also provides a key perspective for understanding his failure. Although this depiction is slightly exaggerated, it undoubtedly adds depth and diversity to the film, allowing the audience to more fully understand this historical great man. 3. Napoleon at war. In the movie Napoleon, the image of Napoleon as a military commander is explored in depth. Especially towards the end of his career, the film highlights his disregard for the lives of soldiers, which does have its basis in history, but it also brings about the neglect of his military talents. Ruthless depiction. The movie shows Napoleon's ruthlessness in the war through a series of war scenes. Particularly when describing his Russian campaign, his contempt for the lives of soldiers is highlighted. This depiction not only reflects Napoleon's cruel side as a military commander, but also reflects his extreme desire for power and victory, overlooking military genius and tactical innovation. However, when showing this side, the movie seems to ignore the other side of Napoleon as a military genius. Napoleon's innovations in military tactics and organization, as well as his outstanding talents on the battlefield, were not fully demonstrated in the movie. This may limit the understanding of Napoleon's overall character, since his military prowess and tactical innovation are also important parts of his historical image. Reenactment of historical events. Although the depiction of Napoleon's war career in the movie reflects historical reality to a certain extent, it is lacking in showing Napoleon's military strategies and commanding talents. This may affect the audience's overall understanding of Napoleon, because he was not only a ruthless commander, but also a military innovator and tactician. To sum up, although the movie successfully displayed Napoleon's ruthlessness when depicting his role in the war, it fell short in reflecting his military talents and innovative tactics. This one-sided depiction may limit the audience's comprehensive understanding of Napoleon, a complex historical figure, but it also provides a new perspective on this great historical figure. 4. Technology and artistic expression. The technical and artistic performance of the film Napoleon is undoubtedly one of its highlights. Director Ridley Scott and the production team's skill in visual effects, scene design, and detail processing brought the audience a profound visual and emotional experience. Visual excellence. The visual effects in the movie are impressive. From the vast battlefield to the luxurious decoration of the palace, every scene is full of delicate and vivid visual elements. The battle scenes, in particular, are as real and shocking as they are real, making the audience feel like they are in that intense historical moment. Precision in scene design. In terms of scene design, the film faithfully reproduces France in the Napoleonic era. Whether it is the magnificent palace or the desolate battlefield, they are all reproduced in detail. Not only are these scenes visually appealing to the audience, but they are also very well done with historical accuracy, adding even more believability and depth to the film. Accurate depiction of costumes and sets. In terms of costumes and scenery, the movie also shows a very high standard. Each costume is carefully designed to reflect not only the fashion styles of the time, but also the character's personality and social status. Every detail of the set has been carefully polished, whether it is the choice of furniture or the arrangement of the interior decoration, showing respect for and accurate reproduction of historical details. Immersive movie viewing experience. Together, these technical and artistic achievements create an immersive viewing experience. When watching the movie, the audience can not only feel the emotional impact of the story, but also gain a deeper understanding and feel of that era through these exquisite visual effects. Napoleon reaches a very high level in terms of technical and artistic expression. The film's visual effects, set design, and costumes are not just for show, but to deepen the audience's understanding and feeling of the film and the historical period depicted. Together, these elements make for a cinematic work that is impressive not just narratively, but also visually. 5. Missing aspect. Although Napoleon demonstrates excellent production standards in many aspects, in telling the story of Napoleon, the film makes some neglect of his versatility as a reformer and leader, which is a glaring shortcoming of the film. Plate ignores Napoleon's role as reformer. Napoleon was not only a military commander and power seeker, he was also an important political reformer. His reign witnessed many important political and social reforms in France and Europe, including the establishment of legal codes, reforms to the education system, and the reshaping of the map of Europe. These reforms had a profound impact on later Europe and the world, but they were not fully reflected in the film. Missing is a comprehensive portrait of a leader. The movie also falls short in showing Napoleon's many facets as a leader. In addition to his hubris and military prowess, Napoleon was also known for his visionary leadership style and innovations in the governance of his country. His reforms in power structures, administration, and the legal system, as well as his contribution to the idea of the modern state, are barely mentioned in the film. Impact the audience's overall understanding. This one-sided narrative may prevent the audience from fully understanding the complexity and importance of Napoleon as a historical figure. Although the film successfully showcases his personal traits and emotional life, it fails to provide a comprehensive evaluation of his full range of historical figures. Overall, when Napoleon tells the story of this historical figure, it focuses too much on his personal traits and emotional life, while ignoring important aspects of him as a reformer and leader. Although this narrative method adds drama to the film, it also limits the audience's comprehensive understanding of Napoleon's historical status and influence. In order to present Napoleon, a complex historical figure, in a more profound way, the film needs to show his negative qualities while also focusing on his positive contributions and influences. Napoleon is a visually and emotionally stunning film. While it neglects to explore certain aspects of Napoleon's personality, Joaquin Phoenix's stellar performance, Ridley Scott's directorial talents, and the film's epic action sequences make it a worthwhile watch. Film. This film is not only an exploration of the historical figure Napoleon, but also a profound reflection on power, love, and human nature.